What's happening, champ? I've been missing you for a while. It's been since yesterday. Alright, so I haven't gotten to the new tracks yet that I was going to be making. I decided to make another episode or two. We got a few things that we were still talking about and whatnot. A lot of music that we were making, we didn't get enough parts, I felt. Anyway, so if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you have been watching for a while, thank you. Made a like, it helps me out. I don't know if there's enough of you to actually need to put a like button on there or anything like that, but it does put me in the stream for other viewers and whatnot. So anyway, we got a few things to go over today. We're going to play some hip-hop. I got some easy drummer tracks on there, and we're going to do some metal. I'm going to actually introduce us directly to the guitar. I'm going to skip right over. I'm back in standard tuning. I'm not any longer in the drop D tuning at the moment. Realized I was using drop D, and drop D is, well, it's a lot of fun, so I forget it there, and I leave it there. So let's flick over to the guitar here. Let me see if I can bring up easy drummer. Yeah, there we go. Easy drummer. This is a miracle app, but let me hear this drum track. That's a weird one. We're in the main room today. Main room because the main room is definitely where we're gonna be crystal clear. And well, anyway, that's my theory at it. So I'm gonna go ahead and flick the guitar on. We're gonna shred out a little bit right in front of you. Keep your eyes on my fingers, keep your eyes on the fretboard, and we'll move along. All right, I think that really rocked. I don't know about you, but that was a really simple, easy drummer beat there in the main room, and it felt like it just felt a nice slow rhythm. It had a lot of power to it. That's what I liked. So that's what we're gonna talk about today. We're talking about power, we're talking about pressure, we're talking about, I want to say, like, ingenuity. It's innovation, probably, mostly, but we're going to talk about power, pressure, and ingenuity today. These are very important aspects. Now, usually you get your power from your ingenuity, and you get your pressure from your power. So you got a weird system that goes forward once, forward again, and then back an entire step and goes, oh, what happened there? And it all consists of each other, but it crumbles down. So anyway, we're gonna take a look at something cool on the internet here. I'm gonna skip right over to in front of you here. Hey, how you doing, champ? Missing you. Anyway, have you ever seen Zakk Wylde outside a shopping mall shredding the guitar? He's just standing outside a strip mall here. That's a Subway. House of Blinds, eyeglasses. What the heck? You hear what he's playing? That sounds intense. Look at that guitar. It's so custom badass. Now that is killer. That is killer. Oh, I could watch this guy play all day. Oh, I just want to return to that for a second. All right, so that's a good example of ingenuity. Oh, excuse me. And I'm going to take a look at yours. I met a new name recently. I've heard about him a long time, many times now. This is a guy named Shane Fontaine. He played the guitar solo to Stairway to Heaven during the tribute to Led Zeppelin, who was dubbed the greatest rock and roll band in the world. Well-deserved title. Very well-deserved title. A lot of people played for the show. There was so many players. And Shane Fontaine did the guitar solo to Stairway to Heaven, and it was very well done. It felt really good. It was really good. I believe he played for Bruce Springsteen and a few other bands that were really cool. The Mamas and the Papas. He played for the Mamas and the Papas. That was the other one he played for. So listen to the guitar play.
I can't eat, I can't sleep, I'm still paralyzed and I can't move my feet. Incinerate these my vacations. Gazing in a crystal ball.
The lyrics are so interesting.
I watch the time fly by. I watch it with a sigh, and then I wave bye-bye forevermore. Times in this life when there's something bigger comes in, and it's only right then you start to figure what is and then what might have been.
All right. So there we are. That was two amazing guitarists. And they have a very good example of dealing with pressure. Now they lay up the task for themselves by being such a big name and playing in such a small venue. Especially when they're just playing live, right? That does it to itself. But Zakk Wylde was outside a shopping mall. That was a brilliant bit of guitar solo. He did a few of them. Voodoo Child, Mississippi Queen, War Pigs, Sweet Home Alabama. Anyway, so that other one, he plays a nylon string, and I never heard such a rhythm coming from the guitar in such a melody that can change so drastically, so quickly, and yet be so handled so smoothly with transitions and all that considered. Amazing. So there's an example of pressure, people setting themselves up to deal with pressure, and then that pressure slowly taking its effect in a positive or negative way. And then people who have the power to make that pressure and the ingenuity necessary to navigate through any of the pressure that may come to. Well, whatever it might lead to. Ingenuity is it's the willingness to innovate. It's the inspiration to inspire. That makes no sense. I'm sorry. It's to come up with something brand new to fit a very specific task and job, right? You don't just come with ingenuity to anything and everything. You come with ingenuity to something specific. So of course you would get risky and you get crazy and you take that second it takes to make a weirder sound. If you come up with a flat note, you don't go, oh, that was my flat note. You go, that was okay, and we move on. So I'm going to show you an example of how a flatter note, maybe a tamer guitar style or a less of a pick attack, will flatter the later guitar soloing and the chords that might come out of it later. So I'm going to tone it down, switch some tones and knobs, and I'm going to bring up a brand new Easy Drummer track right now, brand new, right on the spot, never tested, never even heard of. And I'm going to, well, I'm gonna show you what we can do with that and how much we can work with that alone. So let's go to a funk beat. I like that. Wops, pick the first one. That was really cool. I like the tempo. It's pretty sounding. All right, so here we are. Oops, I added a drum. And okay, so hold on to your hats. We're gonna play some crazy killer hip hop metal right now. This is in the standard E tuning. All right. I think that went quite well. I really like that last part there. You see, not to sound like a know-it-all or anything like that, but the parts where you can kind of, how do you put it? You can pull the energy around. It feels like you can move your willingness to listen and your willingness to dance. And anything that you feel normal about music-wise, if you're a very active person and you tend to listen to music everywhere you go, and you tend to relate it well to what you do in life, which most people do, what you'll find is those moments of a note lowering it down and building it up all of a sudden for a really big, heavy-duty, hard-hitting interval or chorus or verse or pre-verse or breakdown or pre-breakdown or guitar solo or pre-solo or mini solo or additional solo or ending, there tends to be, how do you put it? There tends to be a mix of emotions towards it. You tend to like it more if the person plays the guitar on both parts of it instead of playing it for just one part of it and expects you to understand exactly what you're feeling and everything. I tend to prefer music myself to give me some options as to what I might be feeling, because it's a personal thing, and the person who makes that music should be, personally making that music, right? Otherwise, that's going to sound like it's coming from no experience. It's going to sound like it's coming from somewhere else, and that it's just there to eat up and consume all of our time and attention. So, not to consume too much time, I'm going to pull up one of my drum tracks here. I got a bunch of drum tracks. I'm going to pull out a few sounds I really liked, and we're going to talk about them a little, maybe even if I can just say anything about them at all. This is a cool beat. Another cool beat. That's the one I really like for the intro. This one here, it's a special one to me. I never really got far in it, but every time I did, it kept showing me the ropes again, you know what I mean? This moody ballad is kind of interesting. So this is an example of just a crazy backtrack, a crazy drum set, something that you can't expect and something you don't expect. Giving you an absolute freedom to playing your instrument without you even knowing it. But what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to innovate to control such a chaotic backtrack, right? So anyway, I'm going to play it up for you, and we're going to give it a try. And hopefully it doesn't come off too bad, See what we can make some decent sounds out of this. So there we are. That was a Cajun backtrack known as the Cajun Blues. I don't say I have the blues too often or anything like that, but I do every now and again play the blues when I have an absolute need to innovate towards something that I don't know. It doesn't mean I'm always picking up from the beginning every time I play. Sorry, there's a lot of smoke in my screen here. Anyway, I'm not trying to say that I always start from the beginning every time I don't understand something or know something just as well yet. But it's definitely a good way to get into it. So what you saw there was Zakk Wylde, and he was playing outside a strip mall. And what you saw there was a guy playing a nylon classical guitar and being a very famous guitarist in a very small bar, using an instrument that might pull out the attention and his power and his ability any more than an electric guitar or whatever else he might have chosen at another particular time. Now, the song he played might have actually sounded quite cool if it was electrified. All guitars always sound pretty cool while electrified, but he could have probably pulled it off quite well. So why he didn't? Well, that's interesting. He has a bit of a story to his song. You know, he's talking about how he says it's in the thunder and it's in the lightning. And like, you can't be inside thunder unless you are the lightning, but lightning comes out of the thunder because it's sound. And you can't be inside the lightning because lightning is just energy that's moving too fast, and it's picking up more energy by moving and rubbing against static ions and destroying them and becoming more energy. There's nothing inside of it. So it's quite cool how he tries to play off of that in a sense. Now he's quite, talented with his lyrics, obviously, and the way he plays. It's a nylon string guitar. But there's also a huge amount of pressure on this guy to impress everyone, to make sure that not a single note is out of tune or out of anything. It's just not flat or anything, right? So, of course, he has the ability to impress. And that's what that was about. So thank you so much for listening to this section of the video. It was it was long-winded, but I only got in through two people, but they're very good examples, I believe. Zakk Wylde's an amazing guitarist. If you don't know him, you certainly should. Anyway, so I'm planning to play some more guitar for you guys, and I want to talk quickly before I do about the guitar, no less. We're going to talk about some raw theory, because if you don't have theory, you don't have much of you don't have room to play around on, you know what I mean? Like, you have room playing around on the guitar itself, but what the theory gives you is the theory gives you the tools you need in order to have that room to play around. Because if you have theory, you can have the music in your head. You can have the music in your head and eventually sing it in your head and never need to put it on the guitar or anything. It's just there, right? These are for sale, by the way. They're not for sale for me. They're just unpurchased from Tim Hortons down the road. Anyway, okay. So let's bring up the guitar fretboard here. This is quite the amazing thing a fretboard is. It's both home and hell to everyone who plays one. It never changes. It's always there. It's always this end and that end. It's always there. It never changes. But sometimes when you're looking at it, you might even think it's like a tire on the road just spinning, just constantly spinning. And if it's spinning, you can't get a hold of it. You got to sit there and you got to look at the hubcap. You got to look at the rim, and you got to fix to it. You got to sit in and you got to buckle in and you got to look at it. So anyway, most guitarists who are very, very intensely playing, they look at the fretboard a lot. And of course, some of those guitarists, they don't look at the fretboard very much because they're quite smart and they're quite talented and they're quite meaningful of where they land their hand. And so when you land your hand there, you don't have to rush off and go play somewhere else just because you see some guy playing somewhere else. You got to stay there. And that's where the music theory helps you out. And the more music theory you know, the more you'll be able to play without moving your hand away from that spot you're in. And therefore, the more you'll be able to play anywhere on the fretboard. So basically it might multiply your understanding, but it also might multiply your inspiration. So of course, music theory and practicing music theory doesn't make you have less inspiration or anything. It simply makes you have more inspiration. And you might not want that for some reason. That's just crazy. You need your music theory. But it depends on how much you already know about your music theory, right? A lot of it's relational. So if you have the fretboard in your hand here, and you have the 7 chords in the front here, you got like, you know, your E chord, you got your G chord, you got your B chord, you got your C chord, you got your D chord, you got your F chord, right? And you're just playing your chords. And you're practicing your chords, right? And the more you practice those chords, the more you start to realize those chords contain a lot of other information, and those chords tend to lead to many possibilities. And you mix those chords together alone, and you go, oh wait, the chords are the possibilities. That is quite amazing. I love that idea. I love everything about what you said, but I'm here to help you take that with a grain of salt and really emphasize it. I'm gonna turn that up on you. I'm gonna bring up to a complete new level for you if I can. So of course, when you're transitioning between chords and you're taking out beats in the bar and you're replacing it with single notes and hammer-ons and fills and trills and tricks and pulls, those are all amazing and we need them. But maybe consider where you put those tricks and pulls and tips. Now this might be a little too hintatious. It's not a real word, I made it up, but I'm pronounce-ish. So anyway, if you put a nice fill right here, if you play an E chord, I'm gonna play an E chord for you. And then you drop your fingers off the fretboard and you hit with your middle finger in the middle like this. And you play this nice chord and a thing, and then you play the next chord, say it's a D chord, and you come right back. Now it might look like you got something that you're doing there, and it feels like you do, and it certainly is that you have something there. But if you don't do it again, there's nothing there. But I would like you to realize that if you do it again, and you do it the exact same way again, you have a song, and that's not the same thing as just having it done. You have a song there, and there's more to it than that. So what you need to do is evolve it. And what I'm trying to help you out now is to consider the 3 rules here that we already talked about. Our pressure, which might be cluttering your mind and your creativity. Our innovation, which is our ability to hammer out a single tool, problem, task, or issue. And our third and final piece of the puzzle there, which I'm having a tough truffle time just trying to get the word out for some reason. You know what? I almost forget what it was. Wow. Okay, so this is embarrassing. I forgot what the third thing was, but it was pressure mostly, innovation, and it was something else. I'm gonna hope I remember it. But anyway, I'm gonna talk about. I'm sorry. This is so embarrassing. I gotta actually scroll back here. But I'm new to this kind of thing. Anyway, I'm doing this kind of guerrilla warfare style with you anyway, still to the day. But we're gonna talk about how you might just do that. So of course you might just consider arpeggiating. But now, if you have a sticking out arpeggio in the middle of your thing, and the pressure starts to get to you, and your innovation starts to lackluster to the new innovation, how are you supposed to have a song in respect other than just putting it in front of it? And so if you're thinking you're going to play a cool thing, and then play a nice arpeggio, you're right. That would be really cool. But that's not the only thing you need. What you need is the power. There is the third thing I meant to say. Wow, I don't know why that took so hard for me to remember. Yeah, I'm sorry. Power. Is the power to do something about it. Now, I may have everything under the goddamn sun. I got the amps, I got the mics, I got the guitars, I got the freaking neon lights on the curtain. But all you need is your mind. And all you need is your fingers and your guitar. And you need an acoustic guitar if you got one. And you need to practice that. So basically, you repeat it over and over again. And all of a sudden, it becomes dry and you don't like it. And you just remember it maybe later. And it just becomes a side project. And you never get to it. That's pressure. Pressure causes that kind of problem. It causes you to put it off later because it's not good enough yet. But it is good enough. It's good. It's good. I like it. I want to use that. I'm going to put up a nice track. And so anyway, I have to talk about that briefly for you because we can always go over that a little more in another episode. Pressure is a big one. Power is another big one we'll bring up constantly during this channel. And of course, innovation is something that we are going to try our absolute best for. So thank you so much for watching and listening. Now I'm going to put some of that innovation together. What I just did here, I'm going to put an easy drummer up and we're going to play what we tried to innovate and see if it makes it any better. All right, champ and champettes. So that was the simple problem that we have found. A 2-chord song that you want to innovate with arpeggios and different verses and different choruses that is simply not finished yet, that simply couldn't get finished yet, that simply before I even finished it, I had recorded and already put on a brand new guitar solo for it. So of course, it is possible and is always there. It sounded pretty radical and there's a lot more that could be done to it. But how are you supposed to know what's done to it if you don't actually try what is keeping it in the way? So of course, the guitar solo doesn't have to be what was keeping it in the way. You simply have to hammer it out and do the practice. You may know that much at least, but what you gotta do is you gotta respect your power and innovate to it. And you gotta watch that pressure so that you don't forget, become unmotivated, or unsatisfied with the sounds that you made. And that'll be exactly what you need to finish up what you're doing. So of course, the bass raw music theory of 7 tones. You got 7 tones and a diminished. You got the 8 tones included, this Western style of music theory that involves the additional octave up of G to G, and the 7 tones that are involved in it with a diminished 7th. And you got the 6 full tones. So you have at least 6 tones that you know are absolutely full to the top. So you got 2 chords there. Why not add another chord? But here's the problem. Say that chord doesn't quite fit perfectly. I want you to take that chord that does not fit perfectly, and I want you to love the sound that it makes. And I want you to take all your worries and your pressure and your inspirations to look at that sound and go, wait a minute. That sound is supposed to be that way. It's simply the next piece of the song. And now it really isn't finished. And it's not finished. It won't be finished. It'll be another 3-chord song with another innovation in it, another form of pressure, another level of mental ingenuity, and an absolute display of your power. So of course, take a wing to it and allow yourself to flourish, and don't put anything in your way that you won't be able to flourish with. Think about it. If it doesn't sound that good, you can flourish with it, right? It's a nice chord that you have to make sound better. Just make it sound better, right? Play some other note. Play another thing. Do it again. I like hearing it again. That's what I want, right? Anyway, so that basically covers it for this episode for the most part. It doesn't cover the full topic, that's for sure, because it's a broad one. But I'd like to thank you all for coming around and visiting, for watching if you're here live, if you're not here live, and all that stuff. If you comment, like, subscribe, comment, make a thing. Look at your sidebar, fill up that news feed, look at all that thing. Take a look at the extra section in the bottom of my track there. I got a bunch of hip-hop metal. Look at where I'm innovating and take an example from what I write and put it into your life in some other side. It's a brain, it's not a recording. As you can tell, we're not doing that well yet, but we are on our way, so of course. Don't do drugs, stay in school, and we'll see you next time on the Sambongo track. And read a book. Books are so good for you. We know that much anyway. So I'm going to play the guitar out on here because I like to play the guitar. And I'm going to play the guitar in a cool way to a drum track I've never played before. I got to know. And then, of course, I will do the rest of the outro. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. This has been great. This makes episode 4. We're going to call it the three, I should have said that. We're going to call it the 3 clouds. The 3 clouds. Because anyway, so thanks so much for participating with me, because you're here now and you're watching the whole thing. Uncut, uncensored, everything. I won't swear. Bottoms. See, I can't swear. I won't do it. Anyway, I'm going to play the guitar. And then we're going to talk about one more last thing, maybe a few names and big deals, and then we'll end it there. right. That was radical, guys. I'm gonna remember that one a long time. I'm gonna remember this one forever. You know why? Because I myself deal with pressure, innovation problems, and of course my power. My power. I don't respect my own power. You see, I'm not wearing sleeves, right? Like there's no sleeves on my arm. You want to see powerless? Watch a man without his sleeves. Ah! I hope that's a good thumbnail. It'll use that one. I'm sure of it. Ah! Anyway, so of course, that's a bad joke and doesn't mean anything. It's a big topic. I don't want you to take it seriously if you have to take it seriously. And so again, I'm going to move this screen over here, and we're going to quickly say out a few things to some people here. So that is, of course, Zakk Wylde, looking just about the coolest any person ever could. Oh, buddy, that's cool as hell.
Oh, that's about below.
Wow, who is this guy? Playing in some dive bar. It doesn't look like a dive bar to me, actually, at all. There are so many guitars, so many things on the wall. That looks like a big famous bar somewhere in America. Okay. So, of course, let's take a look here. Rock stars that can inspire. Let's go to Zakk Wylde. Oh, you know what? I'm having a bit of a connection problem here. Low internet connection. It's okay. We can talk about that later. But anyway, these guys here, they make a massive difference in just the presence of the band by being there, a part of the band. It's called chemistry, and it depends on how you work with the people that you work with. And if you have good chemistry with your band, you have good chemistry in the music. Without a doubt in my mind. So of course, practice a bit of good chemistry. You know, if you know a guy, if you know something about him, if you know anything about him, say something about him, you know what I mean? Something nice, because you don't want to have shit chemistry, right? Anyway. So, yeah, I guess I'll have to take care of that in another episode some other time. But, it's been great to talk so much, because I got a lot of things off my chest, you know? I got to talk about whatever it was that was bothering me, in a sense, here. So, of course, we're going to sign off soon. In a chance here to respect once more to the Holy King himself. Hello, and rest in peace, the one true God of boxing, our hero, our Lord and Savior, the true King of warriors and warrior king, Muhammad Ali, the absolute champion. Hello, champ! And thank you so much for being here today with me, because that is exactly what I need in my life. You may need Zakk Wylde's and Ozzy Osbourne's to get up and get to the rockin', but I need Muhammad Ali. And of course, we'll talk more about that stuff in another episode. So thank you so much for watching and being here. I'm gonna sign off and get ready to rock and roll here. Let me just get my my groovy outsy ready for you, because it's quite inspired. I played it. If you are here, if you're still watching, if you're still here, I'm gonna tell you the track this one is. It's called Space Rock number 11. It's called a ballad in space, or a ballad solo in space, and it's my number one guitar solo. It was a weird one. It said something weird, and it cut me in a weird way, and I had to innovate afterwards, and I did. After I played it, I changed the key of my hip-hop metal. For another 15 tracks, I changed the key even, and I had to innovate to that, and it helped having that inspiration inside the song. So the song itself is called A Solo Ballad in Space. And then the other song there is called Cajun Socks. I say that because I looked down and I noticed after I played the cool guitar solo, I was still in my socks. And I should have been wearing shoes. It looked too professional. I don't know. Anyway, that's just my own thing. So, of course, you don't have to check them out, but those are the two that I would technically mention. And we will be signing off in just another second. Sorry, this is taking so long. Okay, it looks like that's not going to happen. Anyway, so this has been the Sambongo Dragon. Have a good day. Stream is ending.